It's a lengthy opening. Watch the Outline Seaside music video. Yeah, it was about the length of a music video. Kahoka from EOC. Okay, so we're gonna go to next story. I have my mouse showing. Once school is over, Yomichi chooses her shirt for the day, puts it on, and leaves the house. You can still see the sun in the sky. Her destination is a park not far from her home. It's a small park in a residential area with little to boast other than a rusty slide and a dirty bench, a sad place she's never seen children play in. She sits on the slide's ladder and pulls out her phone. It's not worth it to risk the bench, considering how it's almost always wet. Friends from her class are talking about next week's test in a group chat. They ask her if she remembers what was supposed to be in the test, to which she replies with a simple, nope. What little sky is left uncovered by the old houses around the park starts turning red. Eventually night comes. The shadows inside the park merge with the darkness outside. As the wind seems to take away the last ray of light still hitting the city. Yomichi finds herself standing inside a dark tunnel. It's dark in front of her, dark behind her, just dark all around. Once her eyes get used to the darkness, she notices there is a very faint light seeping in through the top of the tunnel. It's a green light, not quite sunlight, not quite fluorescent lamplight. She stretches and starts walking through the tunnel she already knows so well. When night falls, she finds herself in new worlds. She doesn't even remember when this all started, but she's pretty sure it didn't used to happen when she was a little girl. It probably was around the time she entered middle school. In any case, if she's alone at night, she'll suddenly get transported to some unusual place. Is it just her mind traveling? Is her body also coming along for the ride? She has no idea. At first, she thought they were just weird dreams. Then she started worrying she was going insane. But eventually she got used to it. She can't predict where she will be transported or when, but she doesn't get surprised anymore when it happens. She has made friends through these travels, and now she can even walk through an eerily lit tunnel without a care. There are openings in the concrete walls. They're large enough for someone to walk through. Voices come out of them, shouts, whispers. After going past a few of these openings, she finally finds the one she was looking for, marked by an unassuming sign hanging on top of it. She crouches and walks inside. "Good evening," she says. "Oh, hello there." The apron-wearing young man behind the counter smiles at her. There aren't any other customers tonight. Shortly after she sits in front of the counter, the bartender serves her a cup of coffee. Along with the steaming cup, he hands her a shallow glass container. It kind of looks like an ashtray, but it isn't one. Yomichi is too young to smoke anyway. She slides the container to right below her face and looks into it. It's empty and polished to a mirror sheen. She grabs the cup and takes a sip. Yomichi never particularly liked coffee. She got used to the aroma because her parents drank it every morning. But no matter how many times she tried it, she just couldn't enjoy that bitter a taste. The coffee they served here, however, was the exception. The flavor was rich and complex, and you didn't need any sugar or milk to mask the bitterness. One time, she even asked the bartender if he did anything out of the ordinary to make it taste like that. When he replied, nothing special, she knew that it was a humble way to tell her that he put in a lot of effort in choosing the beans and extracting the coffee, while also implying that there was no secret ingredient. The coffee is as bitter and deep in flavor as usual. After one sip, she puts the cup back on the counter. As she enjoys the aftertaste, she notices that tears have started streaming down her cheeks. She wasn't sad, nor happy enough to justify tears. The coffee's flavor was comforting, yes, but that was no reason for crying. And yet, every time she tasted the coffee here, she felt so warm inside that she ended up crying. She stares blankly in front of her, waiting for the tears to subside. After traversing her whole face, the tears drop down and into the glass container. That was the currency here. In this world, the bartender gives you coffee, and you pay him in tears. She has seen other customers here before, and they all did the same thing. They'd fill the glass container with tears even when they were in the middle of a pleasant conversation. Once they were done, they'd give the container back to the bartender. That happened in all of the shops inside this tunnel world. There was no money except for tears. She thinks that it's nothing about the coffee making her cry. It's just the way this world works. In her day world, you cry when you feel moved. Here, you cry when somebody gives you something. She feels that the bizarre rules of any world she visits also apply to her for as long as she stays there. The same was true of the moon world where she met Madobe. She could breathe just fine despite having no air to breathe. Moving from a world to the next changes a lot of things. But the thing is, you get used to pretty much anything eventually. At first, crying in front of people felt extremely embarrassing, but now she doesn't mind it much, because in this world, it isn't much. She turns her teary eyes upward and sees the bartender cleaning a cup. Now, she never speaks of her world while she's in this shop, but the first time she found herself here, she had started talking about it. The bartender wasn't in the least bit surprised, but he also looked like he could not care less. He treated every customer the same, regardless of who they were and where they came from. That was his policy. That made her feel comfortable, which is why she often came back and started following that rule herself. Mind if I talk to you, Hoshi? She has forgotten how she came to know this, but the bartender's name is Hoshi. Of course, nobody even bothers asking that, you know? Is it weird? I'm sorry, I'm not used to this kind of place. Oh, don't worry, I'm not used to it either. He turns toward her with a look of genuine confusion on his face. How long have you been doing this? About half a year. Really? But the first time I came here was about half a year back. I'd probably just started then. That's surprising. There were a lot of people who looked like regulars at the time. Oh my goodness gracious. Just a moment. Oh, now I have to do edits. I have to do edits. Oh my goodness. My machine unplugged right now. That is crazy. I wonder if it darkened the screen somewhat. Okay. That's surprising. There were a lot of people who looked like regulars at the time. They're just people who like looking like regulars. I even get first-time customers asking for the usual. And what do you serve them then? I just guess. And they don't complain? Oh, they don't. They have no idea what they want either. By the way, do you mind if I have something to drink too? Sure, go ahead. Hoshi crouches down and opens a cabinet below the counter. What were you doing before opening this place? Good question. What was I doing? Music, I think. I probably made a living out of music. So you were a musician? You could say that. That's so cool. It isn't really. I only lasted a year or so. Still cool. So you did something else before that? Before that, I drifted around for a couple of years. He stands back up and places a bottle of orange liquid on the table. It looks like liquor at first glance, but it's actually just orange juice. Most people around here do it. We work for a few years and then use that money to travel for a few years. Mostly we're trying to get to the end of the tunnel, and when we're out of money, we find a new job nearby. Rinse and repeat. Yomichi looks at the reflection of her face on the bottle. I just opened up shop here because I found the place empty. The bottles and such were all here to begin with too. So it was already a coffee shop before you came here? Yes, everything here belonged to someone else. The glasses, this apron, everything. Is there anything you brought here, then? My clothes, I guess. I don't bring anything with me when I travel. Isn't that scary, though? Hoshi stares at Yomichi. How so? I mean, you have no idea where you'll end up tomorrow. Indeed. Well, do you? I don't. Just thinking about what Hoshi has just said makes Yomichi feel uneasy in a way she can't quite put into words. The first thing she could come up with was talking about her dreams for the future. I guess I'll just find a job and keep working there forever. In the meantime, I'd get married, then get old. Normal stuff. Isn't that why everyone worries so much about the future? If everyone lived as freely as you do, there'd be no point in worrying at all. You have a point. I can't say I ever worry about it. All I can do is deal with the present. Hoshi pours the orange juice into a tall glass. The juice is cloudy and the color is uneven. That doesn't mean it's not a good choice for you. Finding a single place to work and sticking to it could work. I'd get bored really fast, though. You really are the carefree type. Doesn't that make everything easier? Yomichi isn't so sure about that. She isn't even sure there is a correct answer to that question. While Hoshi's lifestyle sounds easy, she couldn't help but feel worried about having no clear path in her life. In her case, that sense of uneasiness would be stronger than the enjoyment she could get out of it. But maybe a few years from now, she'll see this with different eyes. At least all the people around these parts are like this. They just can't stay put in a place and grow roots. We just go with the flow, like water. It's nice not to have to think about where you'll end up next. Yomichi is starting to get convinced about the merits of that lifestyle. So you'll move out of here eventually? I sure will, when I get bored of it or when I have enough money set aside, whichever comes first. That's sad. Why, I'm sure this place will get a new bartender in no time once I'm gone. The look of genuine confusion on his face makes Yomichi realize that for the people of this world, this is the normal way to think about things. Say, what's at the end of tunnel? The tunnel? No idea, but I've never seen anyone come back after getting to the end, so I'm sure there's something. Which way is the end? To the right as you leave the shop. Hoshi empties the cup of orange juice in one go before making an utterly terrified face. This is no good. Shouldn't be this sour. Yomichi laughs. As the blank slowly rises out of the cup, she hears the blank opening behind her. It is only the two of them in the shop. The only sound is the faintly playing record. She can't even hear any voice coming from the neighbors. She can see the steam coming out of the coffee cup. When she's here, she finds herself staring at things she normally wouldn't even notice. Oh, I can move things around with the mouse. That's interesting. You can place keywords, drag and drop them. I found 0 of 5. Oh? Oh, am I now to, like, find the words? Oh, here we go. Okay. Record. What's this song? Yomichi asks after seeing the record player spinning in the corner of the room. Who knows? I just found it here. Hoshi replies without a hint of interest. Song. You found the keyword song. Steam. She hears the door opening. Steam and door. I would assume. Steam. Where's door? Maybe I have to put some in first. That will help. Maybe I have to find another... Yeah, I have to find another word that is... Find more words. Because, I mean, there are 5 words, so... Makes sense. Record. Spinning in the corner of the room. Maybe they want room again. No? Coffee, steam. She hears the coffee opening behind her. Coffee. I mean, neighbors. I've never been to the shop near this one. What is it? I wonder. I've never been there myself, Hoshi says while staring at the wall. It could be empty, or maybe just an apartment. Apartment? There are also people just living here? Oh yes, sometimes we need a break. I'm not open every day. It's not open every day either? If they don't have a sign on the door, it probably isn't a shop. Door. As the steam slowly rises out of the cup, she hears the door opening behind her. The shop's door opens and 2 customers walk in. Seeing this, Hoshi gets back to working. All the other customers do just as Yomichi. They drink their coffee, they pay with their tears, and they don't really talk about themselves. She doesn't know whether they are travelers from this world like Hoshi or people who'd stumbled in here from another world. What she does know is that nobody here would care either way. She is sneaking a glance at the customers as they order their drinks in between chatting. Suddenly, her phone buzzes in her pocket. She is disappointed. She hasn't even finished her coffee yet. She looks at the screen and sees a text from her parents. "What time are you coming home today?" The usual short question. She turns off the screen with a sigh. When she looks up, she sees Hoshi pouring a fresh cup of coffee and his hands are perfectly still. Actually, everything is perfectly still, even the faces of the other customers and the liquid dropping from the coffee siphon. It's like being inside a painting. The shop she felt so comfortable in now gives her that kind of anxiety you get when meeting with a complete stranger. Then everything starts moving again. An instant later, it all silently crumbles. It's like a sandcastle being destroyed or like fog being blown away. Everything around her, as if it was made from something lighter than sand but heavier than fog, gets blown away by a wind that goes to nowhere in particular. It all collapses, melts together, and disperses so thin that you can't see it anymore. When she tries to touch the still half-full cup of coffee in front of her, it disappears as if she had tried to grab a puff of smoke. She is sitting by herself on the bench in the park she was in before. A lone streetlight coldly shines down on her. Her pants are wet because of the bench. It's uncomfortable. Backstreet, composer Kazuya Morita. So, we'll get to the next story next time. Thank you so much for being here, listening to me narrate Moonless Moon for fun out here, just trying a new visual novel, an indie game that actually, I'm not sure if this is an indie game. I don't even know if to call it a game, right? Because it's a visual novel. I really like the music. I like the visuals. The writing is good. I'm curious about what the story is actually about. I feel like this is a sort of elongated prologue full of curiosity. So I like some of the atmosphere. The writing style is nice. It definitely has a sort of artsy, how do I put this? The sort of magical feeling, magical realism, right? Yeah, I think magical realism is the term I'm going for. It has that kind of theme going on. But thanks so much for being here, and thanks for watching. I'll see you later. Bye.